Hello everybody, welcome back to the Border Corner. A couple of weeks since the last video again. Apologies for that. Same issue as before. Unfortunately, my back was playing me up, and there's not a lot I can do when I feel like that. So, unfortunately, a bit of a delay between the last couple of episodes. So, and a little bit's changed. I'm now up to 5 chicks have been weaned. Another 3 chicks, you can see them in this cage here, have jumped the nest. Behind me I've got 2 chicks in the nest, which I'll show you in a minute, and then a 3rd chick lower down. So chick count at the moment is 11. Obviously I know, we've said this before, you can't count anything until you get through the molt. So until we get through that, I'm not going to really know, but at the moment it's quite promising. So we'll have a little look round at the birds, how they're getting on. So let's jump to it. Well, you all know just how much I like the yellow birds. Just try and get her in focus. And I'm so chuffed that I've got a clear white. Really lovely. It looks a little bit on the small side perhaps, but it's only a few weeks old still. I can't remember that. I haven't got a note now of its age. I think it's about 5 weeks, so I think it's still got some growing to do. But nice little bird, and it's pure white. So yeah, absolutely chuffed with that one. His nestmate came out is almost clear. If you remember in the nest, I said that we had one that was almost clear, but just with a little bit of variegation on it, and that was the yellow that stepped into the frame just a second or 2 ago, and here it is, it's back again now. So yeah, really pleased to have got 2 birds out of that first nest. Sorry, I'm just trying to get them back into shot as they've done a bit of a runner. Really pleased with these 2. Pure white, and then that yellow one with just a touch of green. And so these are the, aside from the 5, these are the oldest birds that I've got, the oldest chicks that I've got, I should say. And the white hen, the white variegated hen that's produced these, she's actually been a bit of an egg laying machine when we finally found out that actually it was a hen rather than a cock bird, because she's laid a good number of eggs that I've ended up putting under other hens. So I'll come on to those in a minute, and I'll show you another couple of those. Next up, we've got the nest of 3. These I'm really pleased. 1 or 2 of these are showing a real nice shape already in nest feather. They seem to be quite big birds as well, so that bodes well. They're all doing okay. I put baths on every day at the moment, just so that they can decide whether they want to go in or not. Some days they are, but it's not every day. But I'm putting baths on every day as we go into the molt, just so that they can shed any feathers that need shedding, and hopefully the water will help them do that. So so that's those 3. They hatched on the 13th of May, so they're coming up on, what's that, about 6 weeks. It'd be nice if we could get one to sit up on the perch, so you could get the one that's in really, looking like it's a really good bird. I'm not sure if it's that one. Oh, that's a really rubbish shot. Sorry, man. Let's get back to the wider angle. Yeah, so that's that nest of 3. Really pleased with them so far. And here's the mother of those. The really lovely yellow feathered hen. She's in with the buff cock that you can just see on the floor there. She's sitting on 4 eggs. I've seen him tread her a couple of times. Not as many as, well, I say not as many as the first round. I saw him tread the other hen in this batch that he was paired with quite a few times, but I didn't actually see him tread this hen. So they had 3 last time. So with any luck, those eggs might be full as well, because the birds that have been produced I'm really pleased with. So we'll see what they look like. I'll see if I can get a shot of one of them in a showcase, just so we can have a look at it. I mentioned the white variegated hen just now, and the fact that she's been a bit of an egg laying machine. Well, here's 2 of her eggs. In the last video, you probably remember me saying that she'd laid and I'd ended up moving some eggs around down to the fife and then back up from the fife under this hen because her eggs were clear. Well, there's a white variegated there, so that's another allied bird that we've got. The one next to it that you can just see peeping out, that one is, I think I'm on maximum zoom there. Yeah, that's a variegated bird. So both okay, both eating well, getting to that stage now. She likes to sit on the nest a lot, and I think the chicks do get a little bit on the warm side, so they're starting to push out towards the edge of the nest now. But there you go, see them stretching up there. They're both growing well. So far so good with them. Here we go, this is what I was hoping to get. She's been a good mum. As you can see, both birds are in good condition, both chicks are in good condition, feathering up nicely. Whoops, sorry about that. They're feathering up nicely. So we can get a little bit closer. I always find it really fascinating to watch the parents feeding the chicks. Really good to see. So she's just dropped down to the egg food drawer. I'll just hang around for a sec, just in case she goes back up. There we go. And just have to wait a few minutes, and there she's back up again, feeding them again. I hope that's not too boring for everybody. I really love seeing the chicks get fed. So next time we see these guys, they should be very well feathered. They might even have jumped the nest. So tune in for next week to see that one. So up here is the blue hen. She's sitting on 4 eggs. Unfortunately, none of them are her own. This was her 4th attempt, and they're all clear. So the white variegated hen that I mentioned, the egg machine, that I originally got in as a cock. Well, there's 3 of her eggs under here. I just didn't want to throw eggs away, so even though that's actually going to be 3 different parents for the eggs the white hens laid. But I thought I'm not going to waste them, so yeah, I put them under the blue hen as she was at the right timing. They're due on the 4th of July, so we haven't got long to wait. Maybe by hopefully by next week when I do the video, I'll find out if there's any youngsters in there. So yeah, so she's sitting on 4 and 3 are full. Another hen, this was the one that I bred last year, the green buff, self-green buff. She's sitting on 3 eggs, due on the 9th of July. It's a bit, I tried to get in to have a candle, I can't see anything developing. I've paired her with the clear yellow cockbird. This is the guy that has fathered all of the youngsters that have come from the white hen. So I know that he's pretty fertile. So, but the problem is what's happening now, as you can see, if I get it in the right angle, there are feathers appearing, and they started just before. Oh, I don't need to try and show you what feathers look like, do I? They started appearing just at the time that I paired these guys together. So I don't know now whether I've missed the chance and whether, in fact, all of the eggs for this hen. Sorry, this is really rubbish shooting. I'm sorry about that. I don't know whether they're going to be clear, so I might be splitting these guys up soon. So that's them. Here we got another couple of chicks. This is in the last nest. These guys jumped on, what is it today, Friday? These guys jumped on Wednesday. So they've not long been out of the nest. There's 3 of them. They kind of nod off while they're standing up, which I find quite amusing. This is the other one. Oh, you can't see it, it's hiding behind that perch. Let's just lift the camera. There's the 3rd one in these little with these guys. And this was the mum. She's on a black ring. So far so good with her. She's doing well raising these. Let's get the camera down again. There we go. They're all feeding well. I'm putting on egg food 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and then evening. I can't get up very early because of the medication that I take, so I'm not coming out to the birds until about 8 o'clock, which means they will have been quite a while from when I feed them at night until they get their next meal in the morning. So by the time I come out in the morning, the egg food drawer is empty, and she's banging on a wire basically, and she's almost taking the egg food out of the dish as I'm putting it in. So, but they seem to be doing all right despite that. I load the egg food up quite a lot, and obviously it's not so bad now. It's not quite as warm as it was a couple of weeks ago. As it's a bit cooler at night again now, it means that egg food, the food that's in the dish, is not spoiling. So, but yeah, these guys are all right. So I was hoping to get a shot of for feeding them, so you can have a look. But maybe we'll get that in a little while. As the chicks move out of the molt, they'll be going into these cages separately, so that I've already witnessed some feather pulling, which I obviously don't want. So I'll be setting up the single cages in the next couple of days. I've got 5 chicks at the moment, so those 5 will all be going in separate cages probably by the end of the weekend. I've got a hen over there. This was the hen that I bred last year. Variegated buff hen. She started molting, so she's probably one that will go to the shows this year. So she's already kept separate for the same reason. I don't want to go in the big aviary because they'll pluck her. So, or there's a risk of them plucking her. I just jumped up to the nest of, the cage with the latest chicks to jump the nest. Mum's just been getting a good feed of egg food, so I thought we might see her feed the youngsters. So here we go. She's giving this slightly variegated chick a good feed. No, that's it. I thought we might have seen her do one of the other 2, but here we go. If we come right to the back of my bird room, to the side, you can see my aviary in the corner there. And you'll see that there are birds now in the aviary. Let's just zoom in. This was a, let's go and focus. This is a buff variegated hen that has gone in. She's finished nesting. She's not interested anymore. So as the hens start dropping out, I will be putting them into the flight. I don't want them staying in their cages if they're not going to be breeding anymore. I want to get them into the aviary as soon as I can. You can see somebody else in the aviary is the variegated white hen, just getting a drink. I'm putting, at the moment, I've got 2 water pots in here, one low down, which you can see the variegated hen drinking from. And then I've got another one up here in the breeding cage. Because they've been in the breeding cages for a little while. They're not as fit as they will be in a few weeks' time. The white hen is doing okay. She's getting up to that top cage quite easily, but that variegated hen, she's not quite strong enough yet. So a couple of times a day she gets up there, but then she's spending most of her time on this perch or a little lower down. So it won't be long. It'll only take a week or so, and then they'll get the strength, and then they'll be both up in the top. So that's just a quick showing of the bird starting to go into the aviary. And that block of 3 cages that you can see the fifes in the middle one. That block of 3, I'll take the sliders out, and those cages will all be accessible to the aviary as well. So, and if I actually lift this up and move round into the corner, you can see there where the aviaries go around into an L shape. So all those dividers will be taken out, and that block and the aviary will be accessible by all of the hens and all the young birds. Here we go then, just as a bit of fun. I just thought I'd put the 3 green birds that are still in nest fed. I just thought I'd put them in the show cage. I've been putting them in almost as soon as they left the nest, really, and showing confidence in the breeding cage. I put the training cages on. My idea with that is just get them used to going in and out without a problem. This is the first time this bird's been in the training cage on its own. It seems pretty steady already, which is quite pleasing. Just so we can get him up again. Yeah, it's got quite a nice shape, I think. That's the first one. I thought I'm just going to whip through these 3 just so you can see the 3 that we've that I've bred so far. And here's the second one. All 3 of these, I think, are got quite a bit of potential. This one does seem to have a little bit of a split feather, a split chest going on with its breast feathers. Yeah. But again, this is so early for these guys, and again, quite steady in the cage first time out. I like the colouring on this one. It's a little bit different to the other one. So here we go. This is the 3rd one. I think this is probably the better one of the 3. It's got a really nice round body. It stands up quite nicely, maybe a little bit short in the leg. It's still so early, isn't it? So, as I say, they're only, I'm talking about a few weeks old, but I'm quite pleased with the 3 of these from this nest. So, fingers crossed they develop and molt out really nicely. Now, what do you think? Okay, hands up who's surprised, or should I say hands up who's not surprised that I'm showing you the white one in the breeding cage. I just did the other 3 and I thought I might as well show you the white one as well. So, not all right to do. Obviously, she's with the variegated yellow hen we looked at earlier in the video. She's the oldest of the lot so far, but you can see that she's smaller than the 3 green ones that we just looked at. But she might molt out really nicely. He might molt out really nicely. Let's wait and see. But I thought I'd just show you her as well, just to complete the set. On the last video, I did mention that a little bit of progress had been made with the bank of cages, and that I said I was going to show you, but I didn't. I don't know why I forgot. So, but here we are. You can see progress has been made. It's very slow. I can't do a lot because of my back. I can only do little bits and pieces. This is a good level for me to paint because it's my height and I don't have to bend at all, so I can paint this okay. So what I've been focusing on is just getting the top part of the bank done. I haven't touched the underneath side yet. As you can see, that's still just normal plywood. But up here, this has had a few coats of undercoat on it, and what I've done is I've fitted these rails. Now I know with most cages, you wouldn't fit rails. You would just screw straight into, this is 9mm ply, so whether you're using 9mm or 12mm ply, you would glue and probably just nail the two pieces together and then nail down through the top into the bottom piece. But because of my idea, what I want to do on here is create a really big flight cage. What I've done is I've fitted this rail on around the side, and then the other floor will go in and sit on here. So during breeding season, it'll give me two rows, and hopefully in each row I'll have 4 cages. So in that space there, I'll have 8 cages. But then with the shelf out, with the floor out, it gives me a decent sized bank where I can probably house 3 or 4 cockbirds in there together over the winter. You can help cocks can go together during the winter without any problem. So I could certainly get 4 in there. I might even be able to get a few more than that. And then by then I'll have the bottom part will be done as well. Same thing, I'll have a rail in there as well, and the same idea. So that'll give me a bank down there of another 8 as well. Now what I might do is I might run a little bit of an LED strip in there, because during the winter it's going to be darker outside, and being a little bit low, even though I've got a window on this side, being a little bit lower might make this cage a little bit on the dark side during the winter. So I might run an LED strip through there and then into that corner there, and if I do that, it'll put a little bit more light into the edges of those cages too. So yeah, so that's the progress. It's been undercoated a few times, probably one more coat of undercoat, and then we'll start glossing. So yeah, I don't know how much progress I'll make by the next time I see you. Some of it depends on Elliot's availability. He's home from university, he's helping me a lot, so he does a lot of the hard lifting for me. So if I need anything like that done, I'll give Elliot a shout. But if it's just painting, I can do it. So that's the progress on the cage. So that probably really brings this week's video to a bit of a close. As you can see, I feel a little bit happier this week compared to previous videos that I've done. It's so nice getting youngsters. This is what I'm doing it for. I just love being out here with the canaries. I love watching the chicks growing in the nest and jumping. And it'd be magic to have some birds that are good enough to take to shows later in the year. So let me know what you think. I hope you're all having a good season still, and you're still getting some birds on sticks. I know quite a few folks have finished now. I've been posted on social media saying that they finished for the season. So I hope they're all pleased with what they've done. And if you're still going, you still got hands on eggs, wish you best of luck with those. So keep on birding, and I'll see you in the next one.